Hello everybody, I'm Storm here, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. But you're probably saying to yourself, this is Stellaris, as evidenced by the title screen here, the 4X Grand Strategy Space game by Paradox Development Studios and Paradox Interactive. How is this any different? You do lots of Stellaris content on your channel. Certainly I do. I have a Stellaris series running right now, even at the moment. But what I wanted to do here is, instead of doing a Let's Play campaign, I wanted to do a more focused kind of tutorial series for the new player. I've been actually asked to do this, and I've decided I'm going to go ahead and do it, because kind of over a lot of the, the interface, how to play the game, a lot of the concepts, maybe do a little bit of, how to get your empire started, go over some other stuff. And hopefully, when you come out of watching these videos, you'll be able to kind of jump into the game and get started. So, let's just go ahead and do that ourselves. Let's start a new game. And along here, we have the list of various empires that we can play as. Now, you can actually create a new empire that's completely custom. As you can see, I've already done that a little bit up here. But we're actually not going to go over that. We're just going to choose one of the pre-built ones, which I'm just going to click on Commonwealth of Man, which is one of the ones that will come out of box that you can start playing. These are the dictatorial, xenophobic, militarist humans. So we are going to play that. Let's go ahead and select them. And this is where we choose how to set up our galaxy. We can choose a number of stars. We go up to 1,000. And what shape we want our galaxy to be in. Ring, elliptical, spiral, of different sizes. And then we can choose how many civilizations we would want to be in our galaxy. So the AI empires are basically, they start the same as you do. So we can choose to do this or not. Advanced AI starts are AI that actually choose that start with much higher technology levels than you. Max Fallen Empires. Fallen Empires are a type of AI that are pretty much dormant. They're super powerful. They're incredibly technologically advanced, old empires. But for the most part, they will kind of remain on their own. They won't really expand. They don't, attack aggressively or anything. They will defend themselves viciously if you attack them. But, and there's also some different Fallen Empires that will do some different things. There is the possibility in some more recent versions of the game that a Fallen Empire may awaken and start aggressively moving as kind of one of the crises that can occur in the galaxy. So, the more of these you have, the more possibility that might happen. So, we'll just go with 2. Habitable worlds, what's the multiplier for habitable worlds? Obviously, the larger the number, the more habitable planets will appear in the galaxy, the smaller number, the less. We're just going to go with kind of, 3 times. AI aggressiveness, how aggressive is the AI? Obviously, difficulty. Allowed FTL methods, there are several different types of FTL. What is allowed in this game, which we're going to keep it on any for now. And Empire placement's random, advanced neighbors, endgame crises are on. Iron Man mode, which Iron Man mode does is it allows you to only have a single save. So you can't, what's called save scum, which is where if you run into a problem, you just reload an old save, because as the game progresses, it constantly saves. So you have to basically accept anything you do. We're going to keep that off for now. So let's go ahead and play. Now I should mention that the way I have this game set up right now, let's begin, and the game starts paused. As I was saying, is that the way we have this game set up right now, it is a stock version of the game with no DLC installed. So this is the game. It's version 1.6.1 at the moment, that you will get if you buy the game and install it and launch it for the first time before you do anything else. So that's the situation that we are currently in. Now, obviously, this is our home system here. Mouse wheel zooms in and out. And we have some things here. So down here it says we were paused. This is the name of the system, the Deneb system. We can click on this button to swap out of the galaxy map, and we can zoom in and out. And this is our galaxy that we have here. And this is obviously where our empire is. You just click on the star to jump back into it. And along the side here, we have one of the most important panels that you'll be using constantly, the outliner. It lists all of your currently colonized planets. It lists all of your current military fleets, and you can click on them to jump straight to them. Your current civilian ships. We have a construction ship. We have a science ship. And rally points. Rally points are where your ships will go when you build them. Well, military ships. Right now, the main fleet, our first Strike Force fleet, is the primary rally point. So if we built a new military ship, it will immediately fly to that fleet and enter it. You'll be using this constantly. You want to keep it open. I mean, you can close it, but I never see any reason why you would want to do that. Let's see. Down here are a bunch of buttons I never really use. This opens up your homeworld. This opens up that fleet. Again, just some more shortcut stuff. Now, this is our government window. If you click on this your little icon up here, and lets you know here's our ruler and our ruler's traits, which they are a fertility preacher, which means that they provide a 10% additional food multiplier to the Empire. Their architectural sense, so they reduce the building cost of all of our buildings by 10%. Our government ethics, we are xenophobe. We can purge and displace aliens. We can enslave aliens. We can... other species don't like us, obviously. We cannot give aliens full citizenship. We cannot allow aliens full military service. We cannot use refugees welcome species policy. We gain additional influence from rivalry, which I'll go over influence later. Border range plus 15%, so that is the range at which our borders extend is increased. We are dictatorial. So when the ruler dies, the ruler is 36 years old right now. So when she dies, there'll be an election to determine who the new ruler is. And they have a fleet expansion agenda, which reduces our ship cost, our ship upkeep, and increases the speed at which our ships build. So that's nice to have. Obviously, here's our budget, which energy credits is basically the money of the game. But you can see the budget there. You can also see the budget here in a little bit more detail. Minerals are what are needed to build everything. So to build ships, to build surface structures, to build space stations, you need minerals. Food, obviously, is, well, food. You need food in order to grow your population. If your food drops, you'll start to lose population. Influence is the political influence of your empire. Certain things cost influence to do. Certain things consume monthly influence to use. You need influence to be able to recruit leaders, things like that. Unity is used for what are called traditions, which we'll be looking at that in a moment. So that's all of your resources up here. Here's your science output, your physics research, society research, and engineering research. So what that relates to are the 3 fields of research study that you can do. And as you can see, we have 3 icons here that are alerts for our research. So we have physics research. If we click on that, it'll open up our research panel. We have our 3 schools of physics, society, and engineering. And here we have our 3 scientists that are performing those tasks. Now, each of these scientists have certain traits. So this scientist, for example, is an expertise in field manipulation. So if we see a technology over here that has that same icon, that means that they will do better at working on that. This person is good with, actually gains experience faster. The leaders gain experience and level up. So they have a little star down here, and that'll get better as they level up. And see, this person likes industry. So if we click on this, we have the 3 different fields of study. Now this list that you can choose from is actually randomized. Now at the beginning you have all the same stuff, I think in every single game, but as you progress and more technology becomes available, it kind of is randomized. So you won't always see the same list here of potential research. So let's go ahead and just pick some stuff. So usually what I like to pick is the solar panel network. It's fairly cheap in terms of cost, how much physics research it takes. We get 6 per month. So it'll take us 51 months to get that. So we'll get that going. For here, this is society research. We have planetary unification, which gives us monthly influence +1, which is a nice thing to have. Unlocks an edict for propaganda broadcasts, and is part of the administrative path chain, which is about influence gain, capital buildings, upgraded planet, stuff like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that first, because that monthly influence +1 is a very nice thing to have to start the game with. And for our engineering research, this person is an industrial expert, and as you see, we have a couple of industrial techs. Now grabbing the improved spaceport will be very nice, because it gives us Corvette assembly yards and allows us to upgrade our spaceport to level 2, which we'll be looking at that in a moment. But I think I'm going to take the mining network too, so we can get some more minerals earlier in the game, because this will be, they get a research speed for industry +10%, so they get this 10% faster. Now, you can do things like this. So, for example, if I click on this picture, I can then choose who I want there and say, I really want to get those solar panels faster. So I can click on this person and just say they're busy leading our engineering research, and I can swap them around, and then click on this here, and then click on my available person, and just kind of swap those around. There's no penalty to do that. So, and actually, considering this, I will probably want to do this. Alright, so let's go ahead and close that out. That's how you do research. Every time a research is complete, you'll get an alert. Again, popping up along the top of the screen here, that will let you know that the research is done. You'll get all kinds of alerts up along the top of the screen, so it's a place that you're going to want to be looking pretty constantly throughout the game. Is along those alerts along the top. And we'll see that as we begin to play. So, we haven't looked at the planetary tab. So if we want to look at a planet, you can either click on it here in the outliner, or you can actually click on its name here, and it'll bring it up. So this is the main planetary screen. It tells us the name of the planet, what type of planet it is. It's a continental world. What the habitability is for our species, which is 100%. The various things that are being produced in this planet. How many, what the current population is. What the size of the planet is. If there's any unrest. How much food it's producing. And how much research on the resources is being put out. Which, yeah, a lot of information here, and if there is a governor will show here, and what active edicts we have. And you click on this, it'll bring up the edicts list. Edicts cost influence, and so we have different ones here, which you can look at to see what they are. Surface. So this is the planetary surface, which there are, tiles. So if you look at the planet's size, that is how many surface tiles it has. And you see that there is a little portrait of a person here. These are called pops. So those are the number of pops. So we have 8 pops here. We have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pops. And they can be freely moved around. You can click and drag them and move them around. So if we have buildings that aren't being worked, and you just say, I really, I don't need the, the minerals right now. I really want to have some society research, which is what this is. You can move them over there and have them get that. Now, these blocks that have the, black and white, yellow, or black and yellow, these are called tile blockers. So you can't actually put anybody there. You can't put them there. The tile is blocked. So if you click on it, you can clear the tile blocker, which costs some power and minerals and takes 90 days to clear it. And then on a cleared tile, like say for example here, you can build, and there are different structures that you can build on the surface. So we'll say we're going to build, this is a tile that produces food, so we're going to say we'll do a hydroponics farm there, and it'll take 200 days to build that hydroponics farm. But it doesn't actually do anything, at least for those anyway, unless there's a pop on that tile working in that building. Otherwise, it's in an active building. So, and new pops will grow as your population increases. Now, the other thing we want to take a look at is the spaceport. Is what this is. Again, you click on it, and it will bring up the spaceport. Actually, you can also bring up the spaceport by going to the spaceport tab here, which I forgot to actually look at this. There's the armies tab, so these are the armies. These are defense armies that are currently on the planet. You can recruit new armies. You can recruit defense armies. You can recruit assault armies. Assault armies are what you use to go occupy enemy planets during wars. And you need to occupy enemy planets in wars in order to win the wars. So, building up some assault armies, as you progress in the game, is something that's going to be needed if you plan on going to war at all. Now, one other thing you can do if you click on an army in this list, you can assign a leader, which will be a general. You have to recruit a general. Again, they cost influence to recruit leaders. And you have this slot here for attachment. As you progress in technology, you'll unlock new attachments you can put on your armies. Right now we have neo-concrete fortifications, which increases the army health and decreases its upkeep. Or we have hunter-killer drone swarms, which increases the amount of damage that army does. We're not going to really worry about that right now. Alright, now, the other things we haven't looked at yet is... here's our contacts list. So if we contact any other civilizations, they will show up here. You can then click on them to go directly to them, to their diplomacy screens. I haven't really seen anything like about that yet, because we haven't met anybody yet. We'll probably see that a little bit later. This is our situation log, which there's going to be certain events and special projects and things that will show up in the situation log that you can access here, see what you need to do to work on them, and that sort of thing. There's also the victory tab, which tells you what the different victory conditions are in the game. The technology screen, we've already looked at that, and then this is more. So these are all the other various information screens we have. Planets and sectors. So it gives us a list of all the planets that we directly control, and if we have any sectors, which we haven't really looked at any sectors, and we really can't do any sectors right now, because if we look here, we have a limit on how many planets we can directly control. So right now it's 3, not planets, systems. So once we get beyond 3 directly controlled systems, we start taking penalties to production, and we have to then assign some systems to a sector to be managed by an AI governor. And then we can kind of control how that sector works and what that sector does, which we'll probably take a look at that again a little bit later. Policies and edicts. We have different policies that you can enact in your government, like your war philosophy, what kind of wars you're allowed to fight, food stockpiling, how much food you want to stockpile, what your orbital bombardment rules are. So, it can limit what your fleets are allowed to bomb when they're bombarding a planet. We're set to full right now because we are an aggressive evil empire. Resettlement, whether or not we are allowed to forcibly resettle pops, so you can force pops to move from planet to planet. First contact protocol, how we treat new races that we meet before we've been able to establish communications. Whether or not we allow slavery in the empire, which right now it's allowed, and whether or not we allow pops to be purged, which if you purge a pop, you basically exterminate that pop. So you'll send your army in and eradicate civilians. And then you have different entire empire-wide edicts. As we saw edicts on the individual planet, these are edicts that are empire-wide, and they cast a certain amount of influence per month to enact and maintain. We have factions, which these haven't really popped up yet. These are political factions that can crop up in your empire that have different desires and needs and have different effects, whether or not they are happy with you or mad at you. So, probably seeing that show up at some point. Strategic resources. We don't have any strategic resources yet, and once we do have them, if we have any in the empire, they all show up here. Species. This is different than contacts. Contacts are actual empires we can communicate with. Species are the number of different species that we know about, and what their traits are. Right now we just know about ourselves, which we are adaptive, we are nomadic, wasteful, and continental preference. So we like to colonize continental planets. I'm going to go more into species traits when we go over how to create custom empires. Leaders. We can take a look at all the leaders we have. Scientists are leaders, governors, admirals for our fleet. So if we decided to recruit an admiral, let's see. I would like someone who, these are the traits that they have, and this is how much influence they cost. I'll like you. You have increased fire rate for ships, so we'll recruit you, and then I will go to my fleet. And here's the pane for the leader for that fleet. Click on that and assign the admiral to the fleet. Let's see. Traditions. These are different trees of effects that you can enact on your empire. They require unity to adopt them. You adopt a specific tradition to unlock the various trees of effects, and then you can unlock the individual aspects of those traditions. So individual traditions that have different effects depending on what type of tradition they are. When you unlock the entire tree in a tradition, you'll get access to what's called an Ascension perk, which is basically it's an empire-wide modifier that you can apply to your empire, which we might see that later. Expansion planner. This lists all the habitable worlds that you've discovered and kind of allows you to see what they're like, and also set them up for colonization, which we'll go over that in a little bit. And the ship designer, which allows you to design the ships that you'll be using in your fleet. We really don't have a lot of options here. So this is our military ship. Right now we only have access to corvettes. These are the weapons that they use, and these are the various other components that are required. Right now we just have fission reactors, and we have small red lasers. So, and as we unlock new techs, we'll get new options. We can come back in here and we can do some more designing of those ships. We also can design our construction ships, our colony ships, our science ships, our transport ships for armies, and defense platforms for defending our systems. Which, I mean, as we progress, we will kind of go over the ship design in a little bit more detail as we have an opportunity to actually make any changes. And anything else? I guess I didn't really look this over. If you click on your military fleet, it shows a list of ships. The leader, the admiral. This designates whether this fleet is used as a rally point for new construction. This allows us to just zoom straight to it. This disbands the fleet. This deselects the fleet. This allows you to issue specific orders. Allows you to say attack a fleet, provide ground support, or what kind of stance you have. You know, whether or not they're going to do full bombardment, whether they're going to do light bombardment, whether they're going to do limited bombardment. And this is the fleet stance. Right now it's at passive, so they won't do anything. Even if a hostile fleet shows up. They'll enter combat if they basically get attacked. This is aggressive, which means if they jump into a star system and there's a hostile target, they will immediately move to attack it. And then there is evasive, which is if a hostile fleet shows up, they will flee and try to get away from them. So I think for now we'll just keep everything passive. Alright, so there's a few other things here. Different map modes. These buttons down here, these are map modes. So sectors map mode, we really won't see anything there yet. Hyperlanes map mode, which we won't see there yet. We have the Empire map mode, which just kind of shows all the empires. Diplomatic, which shows what color codes of diplomatic status we have. Again, a lot of these really aren't going to make a lot of sense until we actually have other nations on the map to look at. We can go to the home system quickly. We can search for star systems that we know about. The help, and this is the main menu to save the game, load the game, exit the game, all that sorts of things. Alright, so I think that's a pretty good basic overview of the game's interface. So I think what we're going to do in the next video is actually unpause the game and start moving around and doing some of the first things you're going to want to do in a new game, and you'll start to see how all these interface elements start to work together as you actually begin to play the game. So I look forward to that, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time.